Good morning, everyone. It is now, oh, not yet. It's 11:54 a.m. October 10th, 2019. Cajun just left and I started my own stream. So now I'm waiting for people to show up. And I think Stacker is one of them. So while we're waiting, we'll have some music. Let's see if I can find some of the items that I pulled up from that is downloaded. And we have some files. Let's see where it's at. Still standing. Let's try that one. While we're waiting. Hello, Slacker. Let's see. Let me try to invite you in. Let's see. Copy that. Close this. Add it to this. Paste it. There we go. Okay, Slacker, click on that and it should be able to get you in. There we go.
All right, cool. You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I cannot see any side chat. Is it just the two of us? All right, cool. You can hear me?
Yes, so far.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, hold on.
Is it just the two of us? Oh, it's me. Sorry. Hang on.
Right. Yes. Oh.
Okay. I'm sorry. That was my fault.
No problem. Yeah. So far, usually I put it on, and I'm pretty sure Irma heard it. And Michael usually comes on. Michael E. Fines, that's her husband, and he works for Warner Brothers. Oh, there's OC.
Yeah, I saw him pop in. Hey, Omega.
How you doing? But he video edits and remasters Warner Brother films.
That's cool.
Yeah. Hey, Stacking Silver, how you doing? Yeah, like I said, I have too many interests. I have I don't have enough time for all my toys, and I don't have enough money to invest on everything I like to get into. So coin seems to be helping me save some money and not spend it so much.
Yeah, I understand. I have lots of interests too. I'm gonna try something real quick, so bear with me.
Sure.
I'm going to. I'm gonna lose my audio. Oh no, okay, maybe not. What I'm trying to do is get where I can see the preview camera and then the actual live stream YouTube side and the side chat. Okay, I think I'm there. Now let me go to StreamYard. That's the preview. Yeah, because there's a lag between the preview and YouTube side. All right, so one little thing I thought I'd show you. Again, I'm giving up everything. You know that little lab I was talking about to put the gnome in?
Yeah,
I made a little noise maker. And so we just made a little noise maker for it. There's the power supply and all down there. But when he actually arms the gun, you'll hear like this danger buzzer and warning everybody it's armed. And then towards the end of the video, now I may or may not do it, but I thought it would be really funny that when he actually fires the gun and you see the flame, I get the second noise maker here. Damn it, Sal! And just shut the.
I'm just curious, is this a part of your job that you do that you expanded into YouTube, or is this something that is a hobby also?
Oh, I was in electronics for 30 years.
Oh, geez. Okay.
And the thing is just, it's dried up around my area. I'm not working in electronics. I wish I could.
Mhm.
It pays well, but you just can't find anything in my area that's electronic. You just can't. So I'm kind of forced to change my trade.
Well, this happened to me 20 years ago when I was in retail management. I spent 25 years in retail, and 25 of the last years I thought were pretty good, but I started noticing downsizing, more responsibility, more traveling. Um, Pay wasn't as keeping up with the responsibilities I was getting.
Well, and that's business everywhere. I mean, the last place I worked electronic wise, they were wanting full-fledged EEs for technicians, and I'm not an electrical engineer.
Oh, I
I'm
see.
I'm not an engineer, and that's what these people wanted, and they kept pushing and pushing and pushing more, work faster, and oh, by the way, get all that we want done, but we want you to figure out this. Well, I'm not an engineer. That's what your engineers are for, is to figure out that. I'm here to repair this. I'm here to, take care of the customer. I'm here for, customer service, find out what their symptoms are, troubleshoot their modules, get them fixed, and send them back out to them. I'm not here to design circuit boards and circuits just to make this other thing work.
So you're more of a person that would fix anything that was electronically circuit boards like that.
Well, that's what I've been doing. I mean, it's not as easy as just picking up a board and, oh, okay, well, here's the problem and fix it. You really need schematics. You kind of need to know what's going on with that board. If you don't have a schematic, yeah, you can recognize some stuff, out of it, but not everything. So,
Hello,
uh,
Barb. Hello,
uh,
Barbara Oliver. Sorry, I mean.
oh no, you're good. You're good. And especially with radio frequency, anything that's RF, it just radiates everywhere, and it makes it 10 times harder to troubleshoot.
Because I got into trying to learn how to read transistors, the ohms and the volts and what they're supposed to do. And I even watched a videos on these guys that go through the system of knowing how to repair electronics. Because, for example, my wife's car went out the other day, and it was the alternator. Now the regulator, voltage regulator, is inside of the voltage alternator, and it was so close to the exhaust that it burned it up.
Yeah.
So I went to go find another one, and I couldn't find a new one anywhere. And they don't make new ones for used cars. They only make new ones for production, so they can limit the amount of. I was talking to the guy who was trying to sell it to me, but he said all I have is remanufactured. And so I went to the dealership, and he said that it'll cost me $1,001.26 to put an alternator in my car. I said, "Are you serious?" And then I asked him, "Well, what's the cost of an alternator?" $460. $460 for an alternator?
Well, you know why?
No, not really.
Because what year model car?
2016.
That's why. Because all your cars today, they're not like your old 60s, 70s Ford trucks where you could actually crawl in beside the engine and stand there and sit your butt on the exhaust manifold and work on it. All of it now is so compact. There's all these electronic modules, computers, and your navigation screens and all that crap. They take an alternator that's paramount to a generator and a power plant just to keep the car running. I mean, that's why they're so expensive. They're high current. They have to keep up with the demand.
Right. Hey, Joester, Cards and Coins, how you doing? Welcome.
And my suggestion is, if you get that alternator replaced and that car going, get rid of it, sell it. if that's a design flaw. I had a car that was the same way. I had to replace a high dollar alternator every stinking year because it was prone to overheat. It was just a design flaw in how they built the car.
You see, I'm not a mechanic, and I figured that out. I said it was only like 3 inches from, and they had a heat shield, but that was for the exhaust. It should have had a heat shield covering or some way deflecting the heat from it. And you can see
that alternator should have been nowhere near the exhaust manifold.
It should have been at the bottom. But so what I did was, this was Sunday when it broke down. We needed the car the next day, so I looked at Rock Auto and eBay and Amazon, and they all wanted like $400 still. I said, this is ridiculous. Then I went to Rock Auto, and it was $151, and it was a reman, and it would have taken me 4 days, but we needed the car the next day. So I called around, and nothing. So I called the dealership because I had no choice. I said, well, we don't have it in stock. It'll take us 2 days to get it here. I said, for an alternator, something that is a very basic, item, is just pull and put in. Well, it's not that easy. And I said, well, why would someone pay $600 just in labor to put it in? That's ridiculous. So I looked it up on YouTube, and guess what? I found the exact model, the same car as my wife's. Took a look at it. I said, I can do that. 3 electrical plugs, 2 bolts, 14 millimeters. I pulled them out. I took it out, and I found one in Fresno for $228. My son was still in Fresno. He brought it home, and we put it in within an hour, maybe hour and 15 minutes. And that took $600 more. I could not believe it. Hello, Confusion Coins. How are you?
Hey, Confusion.
So I'm kind of, that's why my interests are. I mean, I fix refrigerators and washers and dryers. I fix, my dad's a submersible pump that's 350 feet in the ground. I even got copper wire that's 350 feet. I've got 6 strands, 8 gauge and 16 gauge and a 12 gauge. And so that was my story, is that it's getting too complicated for stuff, but at least if I got YouTube, I can figure it out.
All right.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I understand. I mean, one of my hobbies, like I built a complete backup system as far as solar power.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, it won't run the house. I mean, it's just a small thing to keep a computer and some a couple of lights going, to keep me entertained until they get the power back on. But at least I have my phone, and it'll keep my phone charged, it'll keep my computer going, because just because your lights go out doesn't mean your cable goes out.
Well, I'm thinking with the PG, I don't know where you're at, but in PG&E, north of California, and it's up to Fresno County, they're having blackouts because of the winds that come up. They're afraid that, and they found cause that PG&E is 58 people had died in the fires because their lines were causing sparks. And since California is in a dry state for the last 6 years, they're found liable. Now they're trying to file for bankruptcy, so they won't pay the people's lawsuits, because of their fault of negligence. And I was thinking about getting a generator back east. I was seeing some options where they bury the propane tank in the ground, and they have the generating unit on top for the storms. I mean, we have rolling blackouts in California. I was thinking about getting one that way.
Well, that's a good idea. My buddy just built a house in California, and he has like a solar panel type roof, and it's a grid tie system. So the electric company has to buy back the extra electricity that he produces.
Right. But then you have to have solar. Well, now they're trying to put in Tesla selling to the homes in California storage batteries.
Yes. That's the type of system I have. I mean, it's just small. Like I said, I've got storage batteries, and an inverter, 12 volt to 120 volt inverter. I've got two 100-watt panels in outside, and like a little control panel thing that I built, and it worked. It suits my. It's been online for years. I need to replace the batteries. I mean, they've had it, but it's been online for like 10 years.
Wow, you're that far ahead of everybody?
That's cool. Man, I knew about that because around here, in fact, if you lose me, it's probably the reason why. We got some storms in the area. You know, my power would go out, and I get sick of that crap. Hold on a minute. So I was sitting there one night thinking, well, what if I get a car battery and one of those inverters so I have something to, entertain myself while I'm waiting on the power to come back on? Because it's never out for like days. I mean, it's out for hours or so.
Well, it's going to be happening from what I'm hearing now.
But there was a time when it was out for days.
Oh, yeah.
So I started doing research. A car battery is not what you want to use.
No.
You want to use a marine battery or something that's a deep cycle.
Right.
And then that way you can still have power at night if your power goes out, but during the day when the sun comes out, it recharges and then you're good to go again. Hang on a minute. I'm trying to find. I don't know if you can see it, but those are the panels.
Ah.
And they're not even facing the right way. They should be facing south, but they're not.
Those look like Harbor Freight ones.
Oh no, don't. Harbor Freight has a great kit. That's what I started off with, but those are Amphorus panels, and they are about 60% efficient. These are then you have like monocrystalline, which is about 80% efficient. These are polycrystallines, and these are like 98% efficient. So you get a lot better output of these things, and then they last forever.
There is a university is working with new base silicone or something similar to that that creates electricity, and it's in a liquid form, and you can paint it on anything. And as long as you put very fine wire, you can collect all electricity. Like let's say you have tile roof, cement. You paint over it, and that's your solar panel. You don't have to build them; just paint it.
Cool.
But they haven't perfected it yet because I forget what they were saying. It got a little complicated, and I lost interest. And then I got a phone call, and I left it. But then I remembered someone saying, "Hey, we got to find better ways because solar panels are too expensive. They're not." Oh, PG&E.
No, that's Ready Kilowatt.
But that's what the symbol they used to use back in the 60s.
Right. This is a SWEPCO signal.
Yeah.
Southwestern Electric Power Company.
Wow. They used it too, huh?
Well, this belonged to my father. When he passed away, I remembered it when this thing's an antique. It's made out of wood.
Oh no, it was a more of a paper cartoon thing. It wasn't a what would you call that? A trophy almost like, or an animation?
Yeah. He's just the kind of the mascot for SWEPCO. What I'm trying to show you is what's behind him.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's the control panel for the solar. And in fact, that's the whole system.
Awesome. See, those kind of things, anything I'm not aware of, and people do this by their own hand, really interests me.
Oh, I built all this by scratch. This the control panel here, that's actually in a cardboard box.
You want to hear something? I really miss Radio Shack.
Oh my gosh, me too. I grew up in a Radio Shack.
I used to go over there and just buy their simple little computers, light fixtures, things that you could put together. That they were just put this here, put that there, and there was like a light symbol, like flash, I have black lighting and all that kind of stuff. I always liked going there because they had the small tools and they had the small, and then they would have like TV antennas that I still like to use free air because there's some digital programs you can't get on cable. I've got 100 channels right now.
Best toolkit I ever bought.
iFixit.
I fix it. It would cost me $75 discounted because they were shutting down,
Uh-huh.
and it's basically for cell phone repair.
Ah.
But it's got all kinds of like tweezers and other little tools, and then this has like every type of screwdriver, Phillips head, flathead, star head, Torx, security bits, just about anything known to man.
Dang. My
I
son,
love this kit.
my son does on a side job. He replaces glass surfaces of the iPhone, especially.
Uh-huh.
He does he did quite a few. He stopped doing it now that he's traveling a lot because of his job now. But he would do at least 2 or 3 a week.
Yeah,
Carlos,
I've got
go
a
ahead.
friend. That's pretty much all he does is cell phone repair, and he stays busy.
Well, I'm a teacher, so I see kids all the time. They sit on their phones and they don't realize it that that's causing stress fractures. And the first time they drop it, boom, there goes their screen.
This was an old hobby bench.
Oscilloscope. I have not learned to use one yet.
Oh, if you ever get hold of one, you'd love it. Basically, it's a microscope for looking at electricity.
There's a guy who's I don't have time because his videos are quite long. He does old radios from the 30s, 20s, 40s. The old.
Casey's Lab.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Casey's Lab.
No, I should look it up right now, but I have to leave the screen here. No, but see, I have a 1939 Philco, and I could tell some of the well, it hasn't been turned on, and the first time I turned it on, it started smoking, so I just unplugged it right away to make sure there was anything more damaging. But I like to get that fixed because my mom from the 1950s to I would say until a few years ago, she'd turn her radio on that, and we would wake up in the morning, and she'd be, already sewing or cooking something. And we would hear the radio because she'd listen to a lot of talk radio in Spanish. And I like to get that fixed, but there's a lot of people that say, we don't want to chance it. They don't want to take it. So it's going to be a decoration from now on.
Yeah, the bad thing about those is the parts are extremely hard to find. Those are old tube types. Tubes run on extremely high voltages. The other thing that the main culprit really, I mean, your tubes do burn out and you'll have to get other tubes, but the main thing is the capacitors, because they've got those old electrolytics that dry out. They look like paper cans or something, or metal cans. And the electrolytic in it just, you know what a capacitor is.
Yes.
Okay, a capacitor basically is two metal plates with something that's insulative in between. Like if my hands are two metal plates, it'd be an air. Well, the storms are coming in. The dielectric would be the air. Well, then electrolytics, it's like a sulfuric acid. There's an acid-based liquid that separates the two plates. It's on paper, paper soaked with that dielectric. And when they dry out, they tend to bleed and short out and cause you problems. So those are the main culprits in the old electronics like that, is the caps just, wear out, they dry out. It's just, something from the 50s, those Philcos and stuff, finding the parts is just very hard.
You see, the other thing too, my interest also is before I became a teacher, I was taking classes to become a teacher, I should say. I was working for Frito-Lay, selling chips. By 2:00, I was done. I was able to take a class or two on my lunch break, or I would work a little later in the afternoon. As long as I got my truck loaded, by 5:00 in the afternoon, it got to be really. Then I got my stores resorted, so I only had to do morning stores, and I did 4 of them, and I got them done by 12. Sometimes, I would get 10, so I would go to class in the afternoons, And then, stay in Fresno, I got a part-time job working for Good Guys Audio and Video.
I just want to say good night, Native Gypsy, and thanks for stopping in.
Oh, get back over there. Let's see.
Sorry.
No problem. No, you're helping me out too. I just got it just now. Her response. Good night, Hector. Interested you came to visit for a little while. Gave you the thumbs up. Good night, Slacker. Okay, good. Okay.
I'm surprised we're not boring everybody out of here with all the electronic.
That's my interest. Because I used to put high-end Marantz, and they were tube, and they were 1 amp, and I put 4 of them together in series so that he would have quad sound. He didn't want the 5.1 or 7.1 or 9.2. He didn't want that sound system. He was an old-fashioned audiophile, and he bought a acoustics turntable, and basically he just wanted music room. And the speakers that we put in, they're $25,000 for the set.
Ooh,
I mean, it's really great. I want to spend some money.
Dang. It's a lot for a set of speakers. That's what I really want. It's just a small little speaker.
Yeah, but you don't get the range or the clarity. I'm into sound quality rather than power. People how should I put it? They think that sensing the feel is more powerful than hearing the sound. And I'm more into clean, high power sound.
And see, that's why people love the old tube amplifiers, because they have a much warmer and clearer sound.
Exactly.
I'm trying to show you a little. Again, I'm trying. I hope I'm not boring everybody, but
I mean, I'm interested still. I'm still awake.
Well, I can't stay long. It's almost 2:30 in the morning, but you've got me interested and awake right now.
Yeah, I was gonna be on here at the hour at the most. Another probably 30 minutes.
The original reason why you started your stream up, was there anything else you wanted to know about the camera?
Yes. You said there was an internal flash?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Explain to me the difference between internal flash that's directional rather than one that you had before that you can change direction, like flash off the ceiling or off of.
Yes, wow. I just set this thing up to show you what I was going to try to do. And
show me that first, and then we'll talk about that next.
This is just a small little scoop. And for the little lab thing for the gnome, what I wanted to do is see how sensitive it is. It's picking up, see, your frequency off your AC lines and stuff. It's all 60 hertz. It's a frequency that's being kind of broadcast.
Okay.
So if I actually touch the lug, you can see that in that sine wave. See that? And see it getting bigger. But whenever I really touch it, I have it on such a low setting, it gets overwhelmed and it kind of goes, can't see that anymore. But if I put a little microphone on there and started talking, you could actually see my voice represented in the trace. I wish I had one to show you, because it's cool. I mean, you can see you can see every word represented in the little squiggles and sine waves and stuff as it picks up your voice. So I was going to have that just for show in the background while I'm talking, and while the gnome was talking, in the video, you could see that going on in the background, just to give it some interest, some special effect type stuff.
No, that's a good idea though.
But let me get that out of the way. Now we're going to answer the real question.
Yeah, the internal flash, how does that affect photography or the scene or the person or the scene that you're going to take versus a directional flash?
Okay, I'm popping a battery in here. Yeah.
I mean, does it diffuse the light?
It just popped up.
Oh, I see.
See, there's a little flash. Okay, now that's good if you're wanting to just take a picture of a group of friends out there, and the lighting's not so great. You want to make sure to see their faces and stuff, and so you just, right now that was it sensing the meter because it's out of focus. Because I'm not really looking through the viewfinder, really trying to do anything, but because it's so close quarters, it's going to bleach everything out. Everything's going to be just, white and drained and bleached out and not really be a good God, if you'll bear with me, let me see if I can make an example to show you what I'm talking about. I'm gonna put a Stacking AG47 piece down here. Sorry it's toned so bad, but that's kind of how he designed it. I'm going to make sure I got a card in here. All right. Oh, well, it would help if you take the lens cap off, wouldn't it, Slacker? All right, so I'm going to focus in on this guy, and I'm going to use the flash right off the camera itself. And boom. And it made a liar out of me, because actually, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
But if you're doing like coins and stuff, they can kind of overshine and bleach out some of the detail.
See, this is the reason why I was asking you, because Rick Kelly 21. Do you know him?
No, I do not.
He's what I call the high-end collector than I am, and he was also a photographer before. And I'm interested because a lot of times I get a coin, and I'm having a question about is it an RPM or is it a mechanical or is it strike through or whatever, but I can't get the detail because even if I use a webcam or even a scope, it bleaches it out because the light is not soft enough or too hard or it has to be directional and you got to turn it. So I was trying to figure out how to use a regular camera.
Okay, here's two ways to fix that.
Okay.
I find some more stuff here. And I don't know if I've got any right here available. I had a YouTuber ask me the same question. And, oh, here we go. Every time she would try to take a picture of a silver piece, it would bleach out. There's no detail. She can't see the facets, and it was just horrible. So, when you buy like a TV, VCR, radio, anything electronic, basically, it comes wrapped in that kind of white, foamy type paper.
Yeah, the real thin one.
This stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you're trying to take a picture of an object that bleaches out real bad, just put this over your flash and then take your picture. What that does is it acts as a diffuser. It dims it down a little bit, and it doesn't put direct, harsh light on it. It diffuses that light and makes it softer and lights it more evenly.
Wow. That's simple.
That simple. Okay, now the other route you were talking about, this is a higher end flash. It has a built-in diffuser, but you don't necessarily have to use that. And you can see it tilts. Okay, now what I do is I angle it up, and when I'm using my camera, it's going to be angled probably a little bit of an angle about like that. But what that does is it bounces the light off the wall and ceiling and reflects it back down, so it's diffused just like as if you had this stuff. Probably even works better, but it's not harsh. It diffuses that, and it lights it very evenly. So that's one thing you can use one of these external flashes for that has an angled head. Now, the reason I got this is because when I was doing weddings, your internal flash on your camera that pops up has a distance of about 15, possibly 20 feet on a good day. Okay, now if you're shooting a wedding of a wedding party, the bridegroom, the preacher, the pastor, and it's a big wedding party, you're going to have to get a lot further back to keep them in frame. And that little internal flash just isn't going to cut it. It's going to be dark. You're not going to be able to see anything. So this guy, even if you angle it towards them, you can still use the diffuser if you want to take off some harsh shadows and stuff. But this will reach a lot further. This will reach 30, 40 feet, and you can still get a good image off of them, if that makes sense.
Oh, it does. Like I said, I even tried to use filters. Remember those lens filters? There were yellow ones.
Oh yeah, I got some of those too.
I thought that would work, but I think getting the detail of the size of the coin that I was taking, it still flashed up. It worked well with pennies, but the better quality of the coin, the more flash I got back into the camera.
Oh yeah, because the shinier they are, the more reflective.
Right. And I could not find a filter to cover it so that I could, not, but it still bleeded into the photography, and I couldn't take the shot.
No, because your filters aren't really doing. I mean, they are affecting the light. I mean, I've got a diffusion filter, but what it's for is for portrait, for a portrait.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a good image of the person, or I use it for the ladies, of course.
Yeah.
It makes it look soft. You can hear the storms.
Yeah.
It makes it look soft. It makes it look almost like a dream quality. Now, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get super detail to show the double dye or the etching or a cut or whatever, and that diffusion filter is just going to erase that.
Yeah.
So you diffuse the flash where it's not so harsh and reflecting back, then you get a lot more detail. It's a lot more evenly lighted, and that's why I use either the larger flash pointed at the ceiling, or if I have a smaller camera with a built-in flash, I can just cover it with that material, and that acts as a wonderful diffuser, and it's very cheap.
Would an angle also change the amount of light coming back to the camera, or the camera able to capture the detail at an angle?
Yeah, it could. You'd have to experiment with that.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But let me tell you, Silver Saver had that object, and she showed me. She says, every time I take a picture, it does this, and it's just a blur. Big washed out blur. And I was like, okay, now, Saver, do you have any stuff that you just bought that has that material? And I explained it to her, and she goes, oh, yes, I have a thing I just bought that has some of that. And I said, cut some of that off and put it over, cover your flash. In fact, I think she was using her phone. I said, cover that little LED or whatever on the back of the phone that you use, cover that with that stuff, and then take a picture. And all I saw was these OMGs, 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 OMGs. And
really?
The picture came up, and it was like perfect.
Now, would you suggest using a digital camera versus a analog because of some of the restrictions now of getting it developed and all that? Do you think a digital probably now?
Yes, because with film, if you don't, and I don't mean to insult you or anybody watching, I mean, if you don't know precisely what you're doing and how to do all your settings and stop up, stop down, diffusion filters, stop filters, and all that stuff to get it to turn out the way you want it the first time, because you got to get developed. There's no going back.
Right.
Digital, if you take a bad picture, you go, oh, okay, well, I need to do this, and you can adjust for it.
Okay. All right. Now that's making sense, because Rich was saying the same thing about getting the filter, but I've never thought of using, padding from electronics device that you normally throw away anyway.
Okay, think about a portrait studio.
Okay.
All right, and when you go and you sit down, what do they have? What are you looking at?
Well, I'm looking at the camera, the photographer, and some lights above that have like umbrellas.
There you go. That's part of it. What else?
The background, the coloring.
No, I'm not worried about the background. I'm focusing mainly on the lighting and the camera.
Okay. And it's not on the camera.
It's outside on tripods.
Right, and it's also angled like it crosses. Like the one that we took, one was on the left going to my right, and the right one going to my left.
Right, and then there's a little one that's back behind you called a backfill.
I did not know that one.
Yeah, that's because when they take that picture, those two big old lights in front of you are going to put one hell of a shadow on that coloring behind you.
I see.
You do a small fill flash with the fused light to knock out that shadow, but not overpower the background. But what I'm mainly getting at is you've seen the flash umbrellas where it's like a silver umbrella with the light pointing towards the back of the umbrella.
Right.
Okay, so that's like a parabolic. It splashes that light on the umbrella, and the umbrella reflects a softer light, and more evenly disperses it. Okay, but the thing I was really trying to get is you've seen those big black boxes with the white face.
Vaguely right now.
Yeah, it's like you're sitting in front of the camera, and if it's not an umbrella, it looks like a black box with a white face, and there's slightly glowing like a regular kind of little light where you can see what's going on. And then when he takes the picture, it flashes. Well, that's the same thing as putting that stuff in front of your flash.
I see.
It's a diffuser. Okay, we got 3 watching, so 2 of them are probably us. Omega must be writing a book with the notes he's taken on this.
I hope so. So if I use the digital camera, and you said the T6 is a good option, what lenses should I be using for such close-ups of coins?
I use a regular, I believe. Let me look at the. I have a 15. I have a 15 to 55 millimeter. For portrait, that's bad because it's almost kind of like with a fisheye effect. It'll make their nose look big.
Mm-hmm.
But for coins and such, it works great. And basically, you're not going to really know what your millimeters are. You're just going to focus using that focusing ring, which is going to change what millimeter range it is. But if that's all you're really, just use the kit lens that came with it.
Okay. Because this one here that I'm looking at Walmart, it has 2 lenses, but it doesn't stipulate what the 2 lenses are. Then there's one with a body.
Yeah, that's a kit lens. And then let's see, I have another lens which is a 35 to 70, which is good for regular pictures, not so much close, but like the kit lens I use.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're shooting coins, you're going to be just hovering pretty much above them, and
right.
You're going to have problems if you get too big of a millimeter lens and the depth of focus and such like that. Then for portrait work, you really want to use about a 200 millimeter, and yes, you will have to have the studio lighting because again, the flash won't reach out that far, but it's not going to exaggerate certain features of the person's face. And then if you just want to do like, I've got a 300 millimeter zoom lens that it'll reach out and touch someone, but you really need to have a tripod with it because it's, think of a camera like a gun. If you're shooting like a short distance, you can have a little bit of play and not lose your subject. But if you have a rifle that you're trying to shoot a mile over land and hit a target, just the slightest hair of movement in that barrel is going to equal feet out where your target is.
Right. You may move over 1/1,000,000th of an inch, and if it's a mile away, you're going to miss it by a mile.
Right. Exactly. And that's the thing I learned the hard way with that 300 millimeter lens.
Well, that's good to know because I've talked to a few photographers, or people who have more knowledge than I do, talk about diffusing light, and that's the one thing that most of them said that the only way you can do that is using this. And I tried it, and it's close, but it's not the detail that I see with my own eye. Rather than trying to get as much as possible detail and as close as possible.
Well, give it a try, man. What camera
No,
is available now?
my I don't have any. I haven't bought one in a while, but I have a friend of mine who has an EOS. And I can't remember the model right now, but he only bought it last year. He said I could borrow it.
Oh, cool. You end up falling in love with those EOS cameras.
Yeah, well, I like photography because I remember in college. I'm not in college. In high school, I was looking at Ansel Adams, and I just happened to look at it. It was black and white, and I enjoyed him so much that I got my 35 millimeter camera.
That's another thing you're gonna love about these, like my 50D, the T6.
Uh-huh.
You can do what's called a RGB. You can eliminate RGB, which basically you'll turn it black and white, so you can still shoot black and white.
Because
grayscale, that's what it's called, grayscale.
Grayscale. I've done some black and whites when I just took black and white film on my old AE1 Canon, and I had some great shots that people thought, oh, well, that's a building that's from what, the 1800s. I said, no, I just
right.
And they said, well, that building was in the 1800s, built in the 1890s, but it's a modern photography. But I was using this film, and they couldn't believe it was that era. You know, I actually added some cracks into it using the process. You know, when I developed my own film in those days, and they couldn't believe it was a modern one. I said, you can tell, but I guess they just thought it was. So I was happy about it myself.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love photography. There's so much fun you can have with it. In fact, I told you about holding the shutter open bulb.
Right.
And you were talking about trying to do the Starscape.
Starscape, yeah.
I kind of played around with bulb, but not Starscapes. I have a hard time with Starscapes. Let me see if I can find. I know that's not there.
6 before the 2, and now back to 4.
Pardon?
Our views, people coming in. Now we're back at 4.
We'll be back down to 3 as long as we keep this up.
Yeah, but it holds my interest right now at the moment. Maybe with the shutter open, how long can a shutter be open without damaging the film? Like if it's
it just depends on your f-stop. It depends on your aperture settings and all of that. I mean, with a digital camera, you're really not. I don't think you're going to harm anything. Wow, where my pictures went? I must have downloaded them.
We're up to 6. Hello, folks. If you're here new, just shout out and say you're here. Like to know who's coming in. Yeah, because like right now, I've got my coin collection is growing like crazy. I didn't think it'd be this growing this fast, and the knowledge that I'm receiving from all the other people, I had to put my other hobbies away for a little bit. I'm also restoring my parents' my truck, actually a '63 Chevy C10. Plus, I got a '57 Chevy half-ton pickup in the garage. I'm redoing my Mazda RX-7 and my BMW 320i. I'm retro-modding it.
I wish I could find it because I took a picture where I played around with a tea light. And I darkened the room, basically. I opened up the aperture to, I believe, like a f5. And I turned on a light, not in frame. It was off to the distance, very dim, just enough to kind of give a low light to the scene.
Right.
And I locked the shutter open. I want to say 2-3 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took that tea light and just walked around the room. Now, you can't ever pause. You can't stop. You have to keep moving. Okay. So when the picture came out, you saw the room, and yeah, it was somewhat dimly lit, but it looked fairly normal. But you had a trail of fire going around that room that just appears. And it looks pretty cool. I had people say, "Oh, damn, man, you need to move. Your house is haunted."
I always wanted, when I was Boy Scouts, I've never ever seen. We went to Texas somewhere. I can't remember exactly where because I was like 10 or 11. But
Oh, here we go.
we were in Texas and we saw. First time I ever saw fireflies. I thought it would be neat to capture them flying, in the night. And I took a photography, just regular, those Canon ones, not Canon, the not disposable. What do you call those things? They were like the little boxes,
Yeah,
and they were
little
like,
disposable type.
yeah. And I tried taking them, and I thought, oh, if it comes out, it comes out. And I took two of them, and that's all I wanted to take. And all I saw was the light. And I said, wouldn't it be great to have a movie of having the fireflies flight at one time at night? And I thought, is that possible? What's that?
That's the tea light.
Oh yeah, I see it. Wow, it looks like a spider.
Oh no, that's a plant in the middle of the table.
Well, I know, but in the shape, it looks like there's the two eyes, the head, the hair back, and the arms.
Just different shots.
That's cool.
And then let me see. There was one where I took one in the computer room. Basically, firewall my ass.
That's neat. I like that.
But that's what you can do playing with the bulb settings.
Wow. I'm so wide awake right now. I don't know if I'm able to go back to sleep but
another thing you can do with the bulb settings.
What's that?
I wish I had it available to show you because it turned out pretty neat. If you're like at a fireworks show,
that's another one I wanted to do. There's a lake up here. They do the fireworks, and the barge is pulled to the middle of the lake.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always wanted to take a picture of the sky, fireworks going off, and then the lake showing the same pattern.
Okay, well, what you would do, because if you're gonna go like a chunk, because it's dark for one thing, but you're not gonna capture all those fireworks. Like the show that I went to is a small show, and you'd hear a boom, pop. Wait a minute, boom, pop. Boom, pop. Okay, yeah, so you might get one cluster of sparks. Okay, yay. If you can get that. But if you use that bulb setting, you can let a couple of them go first, kind of get an idea of where they're hitting in the sky. Frame that up, set it to bulb section, and lock that baby open for about a good 2 to 3 minutes, or maybe even 5. I don't know. It depends on. Hey, TLT, what's up, Tim?
He was where we were at.
But when it's done, instead of just like 1 or 2, explosions of the fireworks, you're gonna have a sky filled with it, and it's gonna look great.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick your brain more. One time, one of these days, what I want to do is all photographers show up, or some kind of keywords. Let's say photographers show up. We need to talk, or something. Because I've always used the film also for sensitivity, 100, 400, whatever, ASA.
Yeah.
And I always thought that would be the main reason why I wasn't getting the right shots. But now I think it's a combination of the right film, the right lighting, the apertures, the f-stops, all that.
That's exactly what it is, because you could use like ASA 1000, and yeah, you can shoot great in the dark, but that film is known to be grainy.
Right.
So you might want to step down to ASA 800 or ASA 400 or something. The problem with that is it's a lot tighter grain. You won't get that graininess, but where it only took like I'm just grabbing out of the air, okay? So don't take this for like stone settings. But instead of like a fifth of a second at ASA 1000 to take that picture at that particular exposure, if you go down to ASA 400, hey, TLT, I'm doing all right. If you do ASA 400, well, that fifth of a second just turned into like 3 seconds or 4.
Right.
Because it takes more light to expose it.
So, okay, using the old-fashioned ASA, ISO film, how does that convert the thinking going into a digital camera? It doesn't have those settings.
Oh, it's got them. You just got to find them.
You gotta find them. Okay,
Oh,
all
yeah.
right.
They have ASA settings.
Because I'm not used to new digital cameras, so that's
Okay.
something.
There's another little thing that comes into play with digital,
Okay.
and that's color balance.
Ah.
Because if you use, say, all right, say you're taking pictures indoors and you just have regular, the everyday old incandescent light bulbs. So you set now it's pretty much normal. You can just use an auto white balance and you'll be good.
Uh-huh.
But if you're trying to be creative and stuff, if you use tungsten white balance, you can take pictures inside the house all day long. It'll be fine until you get into fluorescent lights. Everything's going to turn kind of a green color if you get under fluorescence. If you go outside in sunlight and you're still on a tungsten white balance and you don't white balance the camera, everything's going to turn blue. So my suggestion, just learning or whatever, I would just keep it on auto white balance so you don't have to worry about it. But
see, and that's what I was worried about at night. Like, okay, we have baseball games, and I coach baseball and I coach football, and when the photographer takes, like video camera, and he uses a digital camera for video, and then we have another camera for all the stills. And what I noticed is that the lighting seems still to affect even those cameras.
Oh, yes.
When we have, full blown, lights that are, you've seen stadium lighting. It's like daytime, but for some reason you don't see detail like you do with the same camera in the daytime. And I'm thinking it's because of the lighting. Is that right?
Fluorescence will give you kind of a greenish haze.
Right.
Incandescence will be kind of orangish. Sodium will be yellow. Mercury vapor will be definitely kind of a green. Trying to think if there's any others that you have to really be careful of. But yes, the different types of lighting will affect things, especially for like video. Because I used to do a show on public access, and we were filming the Cinco de Mayo celebration. And everything indoors, we white balance. We got the picture, we held up a white card, did the white balance, it took it. Everything was great. And then they were doing they were doing a competition on the low riders, I guess you call them. The cars, you got the hydraulics and they can jump and stuff. So we were like, oh, we want to catch that. So I ran out. I forgot to white balance the camera and just started shooting. And the footage was great, except everything was blue. It all had a blue tinge.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, I was like, what happened? And then the guy who kind of was running things was like, did you white balance when you went outside? It's like, crap, that's what happened. No, I forgot the white balance.
Yeah, I see there's so much that I just got my brain right now twirling and thinking, well, I should be doing this. Maybe I should get this camera first. Well, maybe I should learn first what I should know about the cameras first, and then dive into getting the camera. Or should I just get one and just start experimenting with it?
Get one, start experimenting. Use some of the stuff I've told you, especially if you're using it for coins. Okay.
Right.
that'll get you going. Now, if you want to play around and start doing, landscapes and portrait photography and
Mhm.
time lapse like the bulb function type stuff, bear with me. I'm gonna get a little distant on you here. There's a book I highly suggest you get.
Okay.
Actually, it's two books. John Head. Okay, there are actually three books. You can probably order them at your nearest bookstore. If they don't have it, they can probably order it. You got a pen and paper?
I got a pen and I'm getting paper right now.
Okay. Hey, J Norms.
That's another subject I like to get into is forging. He's into pouring his own silver.
I want to get into that. I just can't afford to build my shop.
I've got a 3-car garage, so I should be able to take out one of my cars and have it portable. But I'll see how that goes. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. John Hedgecoe's Photography Basics.
Photography basics.
But he's mainly talking about film cameras. But most of what he says about these film cameras and the settings translates to your digital ones, especially if you're using a T6.
Tim, what's John's last name?
Pardon?
John's last name?
Oh, Hedgecoe. Hedgecoe.
Hedgecoe. Got it. And he talks mostly about techniques in the camera, but it's still applicable to digital cameras.
Yes. Okay. Write this down.
Okay.
ISBN
0
-8069 -0376 -7.
Got it.
Because if you give them the ISBN number, they can order it a lot easier if it's still available.
I'm an English teacher and part-time librarian. I'm a teacher.
Okay, so you know about the ISBN numbers.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then there is a 2-pack called Scott Kelly's Digital Photography. It's a 2-box set.
Scott Kelly. Okay. Scott Kelly's
Digital Photography. And it's a box set. It's the Digital Photography book volumes 1 and 2.
Volumes 1 and 2. Got it.
And I'm going to just show you if I can get it to focus. There you go.
Okay. 139780 60403-3. Got it.
Okay, and then there's another, because it's a 2-box set. That's why I'm showing you both.
Oh, okay. So let's see, 0321 604 032-2. Got it.
All right.
It has a matter of fact, that UAPM number is another way of finding out the retail too, but depends on where it goes. Okay, third one. Oh, you said 2 or 3?
That was the 3. It was the two box, and then the third.
Got it.
But if you read those, that tells you kind of what what the ASA is. Aperture priority, shutter priority, how to adjust for lighting. It talks about flash. It talks about fill. It talks about framing. It talks about it'll set you up. It'll give you enough that you can really start using that camera.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that I know how to use the camera, but I need the internal knowledge of the effects of certain things. What happens to the photograph? That's the part I'm lacking, I think.
And the stuff I've shown you is just tricks that I've learned while doing it. Like that material over the flash to diffuse the light. That's a poor man's way of doing it.
Oh, okay. Cool. Well, John, John RMS?
No, I do not.
John is from
Oh,
England.
yeah, I know him. I mean, I just said hi. I call him J Norms.
Oh, J Norms. He's been pretty good about showing me his shop, and he's been doing some pours for quite a while, and now he's going to get into something else. I'm not sure what it is, but not that I can recall. Let's put it that way. But yeah, I my brain's picked for everything that I like to talk to. It doesn't matter what the subject is. But we got 7 people now. Wow, awesome. Yes, look at how much the book was. Oh, that's fine. The ISBN number when he was showing it, he was referring to that. The difference in
Oh, he wants to know what it is, and
the difference in U.S. and U.K. money in the back was above the UPC code.
let me see. He's wanting to know what it was.
No, he was just saying the difference in the cost.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So how much stronger the UK was than the United States.
But anyway, hopefully that'll get you started.
Oh, definitely.
Can you hear me? Did I just go offline or something?
Sorry about that.
Oh, I was wondering. I was trying to type in there. Can you guys hear me? I didn't know what was going on.
No, I moved something and I picked up my cordless mouse and it was changed on me and I didn't touch any buttons, so I don't know. Anyway, I'm back. Anyway,
Okay, so Jay Norris wanted to see.
yeah, he wanted to see the prices. 28 pounds and 99 whatever it's supposed to be.
UK.
$48.99 Canadian and $44.99 USA. He wanted to show me and you the difference between UK money and the conversion to US dollars. You say it was that strong?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we've talked a lot, and last night we were on for at least 3 hours, I think. And I start school at tomorrow at 7:30. So sometimes I get a little tired at work.
I have to tell you, I've had a blast talking to you tonight. There's not too many people that can keep me on a live stream up till past 3 in the morning.
Well, I appreciate the compliment, and it's likewise. Coins is fine, and I do enjoy coins, but sometimes a little diversion helps now and then.
Oh, I've enjoyed it because I mean, I'm into photography. You like the electronic stuff. I like the electronic stuff. Oh man, I'm up to linking up with you whenever we can.
Oh yeah, please. Now that I'm like on the weekends, I'm up a little bit more like Friday nights and Saturday nights, and usually Monday through Thursday, I'm trying to be online by 9 and off by 1 at the most. And sometimes
sorry, it says it would now be 3610 pounds. Yeah, that's an older book. That's why I'm saying I don't know if it's still available, but if he's just trying to get the basics of photography down and all the settings and stuff to go into creative, that's going to set him up.
TLT says I excited to stream. No, I mean there isn't a subject that I don't find uninteresting. Mainly because when I went to high school, most of my studies there was basically theology and philosophy and history and really academics. And hope school was good. School was good today, John. Today's school was good. But when I got out of college, when I got out of high school, I started going to adult school and I started to learn welding and carpentry and fixing TVs that were the old-fashioned tubes. So I'm a little older than most people. That I find out that I am older than most people online. for YouTube. So my interests vary.
Okay, let me ask you one thing. In repairing tube type TVs, what was one of the first things that you did to be safe?
I took the power out of the cord, make sure that the voltage was not still charged with some kind of electricity in there.
Okay, what about the tube itself?
We normally had a plug. If I remember correctly, this is over 40 years ago, so you gotta bear with me. I'm trying to remember. We tested the power in the capacitor at the voltage, and the second thing we did was ground the TV. And the third thing, there was four things we did. And I can't remember the third and fourth.
There's one that's pretty important that I'm hoping, since TLT is in here, I want him to hear this. And it's not because of him, it's because one of our friends.
Okay.
It's discharging the tube, the anode.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, the little red suction cup on the top of that thing.
Yeah.
You dig a little screwdriver, not touching the screwdriver shaft, but you
Yeah.
put a wire on the shaft of that screwdriver, you run it to ground, and you poke that anode underneath that red suction cup to discharge it.
And for an added, I remember the teacher would have a rubber glove on.
Yes, because you're talking about 80,000 volts or more in that tube.
Well, because sometimes somebody wore a ring, sometimes it'd arc over.
Uh-huh.
So I remember now. How come I forgot that too? Well, it's been 40 years.
40 years.
Yeah. And I don't practice it very much often. What was the fourth thing that we did though? I can't remember that either.
I'm not sure. Now, see, J Norms is agreeing with me. Absolutely, they had a hell of a charge, and they'll hold it for years without being turned on because you've got a phosphorus coat on that glass, and just what did I tell you? The capacitor,
right?
Conductive, dielectric in the middle. That's all the tube is a gigantic capacitor. And so it will hold that 80,000 to 110,000 or whatever it is, whatever the firing voltage is on that anode. It'll hold that for years after it's been turned off and stored in the closet or wherever you find it.
My mom and dad built a house on the ranch, and I did all the electrical, the whole house. The only thing I didn't do was hook up the power to it, and I was helped by a guy telling me how to do this and how to basically just wiring a house. So I did the framing, the house, the roof, the electrical, the installation of tile. I mean, I did everything, mainly because I was just interested in doing it. The guy said, you want to do this? I said, sure. I want to learn how to do it. And he goes, why? Well, because I couldn't do it in high school, and because we didn't have any carpentry. We didn't have electronics. We didn't have car auto repair. We didn't have anything like this.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing at TLT.
Why is that?
He's saying, just smash it. Hell, shoot it. It's a lot more fun. Talking about the tubes.
Well, I've done that too with my rifles.
Oh, that's funny. But, you were talking about wanting to learn more about smelting and forging. Well, J Norms and TLT were definitely two people.
Yeah, I've been watching their tubes, their YouTubes on that. And sometimes I catch him in the morning because he's up in the morning and we're just barely getting around midnight. And sometimes it's 7:30 his time. We're here at midnight or 1 o'clock.
Yeah, well, I'm going to hibernate tomorrow being up this late.
Well, I really appreciate your time with me and you sharing your knowledge. And I appreciate the fact that we have some interest that we can collaborate later on.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm subbed to you. I think you're subbed to me.
Yes, I do.
Just my emails and my about page. Try to, our schedule. My schedule varies from one day to the next, so I don't know. But just let me know the times that you're available, and I'll try to kind of coincide with you there and to see if we can link up and back again.
Yeah, if you're Central Time probably.
Yes, I'm Central Time.
Okay, I'm Pacific Time. So normally I would get on about 8:30, 9 o'clock my time. So that'd be probably about 11 o'clock your time.
Okay. Oh, so you're in California. That's right. California lights are out and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're 2 hours behind me.
Oh, and another thing, if I'm not on, it's because PG&E turned off our power. I'm not. They already happened to me already on Wednesday
Yeah,
midnight.
that's when you get storage batteries and solar panels.
Yeah, well, they're going to be going up in California. I can tell you that already. People are already planning it. I was talking to a couple of teachers at school today, and they're already planning getting generators and getting solar panels at the same time because they know this is going to be the future.
But anyway, guys, like I said, it's after 3.
Yep.
I'm going to go. TLT, J Norms, good seeing you guys. Oh, Dragon Cam just came in.
Yeah, and we got 10 people watching now.
But yeah, I'm gonna have to go. Hector, this has been a blast tonight. I've had a lot of fun talking to you about all these different subjects. I hope we can get together again.
We shall.
Hopefully we can get do you ever get on TLT's stream?
Oh yeah, we talked together.
Okay, all right. Hopefully I can catch some of those. I haven't been able to catch them lately because my schedule. But yeah, we'll talk.
Okay,
we'll talk.
Yeah, even OC Omega said it was an awesome chat.
Oh, thanks, Omega. Yeah, it was. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, another thing too, before you leave,
sure.
John's gonna get. He's either got it or he's going to get a CNC machine.
Oh yeah, I was just seeing in the comments that he was doing a project on his laptop for the CNC.
Yeah, he said that he's gonna do graphite, and when he does, he's got to wear a mask and make sure he doesn't breathe in that graphite dust.
Oh no!
No.
That reminds me of an old story back when they were building the first atomic bomb. Enrico Fermi was shaving off the graphite through, like, they had this normal regular woodworking tools. They didn't have any. It was like nobody knew anything about nuclear or radioactivity. So it was all this pioneering field, and he was cutting these graphite blocks for the pile for the first reactor, and he was just head to toe just glistening in graphite dust.
Oh no!
But
well, that's bad for your lungs. I know that.
Oh yeah, to give you miner's disease.
Yeah, black lung.
But yeah. I'm sorry. Stop it! You're getting me off on tangents.
This is how my mind works. There's so much of interest of everything that there's not a subject, like I said, doesn't interest me at all, but it does. I mean, everything that people talk about, politics, religion, but in a way that is mutually agreed and tolerable, and we listen to each other and all that kind of stuff, but that's fine. But mostly anything that's mechanical, anything that moves, anything that has to work on another to another to another. I mean, it just goes on and on for me.
Yeah. I can see us burning up some computer time.
Okay, I better let you go because you probably have a long day tomorrow. I know I do. And I've got 9 people in here right now, and I've had to say good night too because I gotta be up early in the morning at 6, which is about 5 hours from now.
Oh, I feel for you. All right, well, everybody inside chat and Hector, thank you so much. Been a great night, and I will talk to you guys later.
And it was a pleasure to meet you and finally hear a voice.
All right, well, you'll hear it more often.
It'll be a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, good night, everybody.
Good night. Okay, John, you know what? I'm gonna everyone who's in the stream, thank you for showing up. I hate to cut it up because I'm really enjoying tonight, and I will do this stream again. Anybody who's in here or everyone that I've known, talked to, spoke to, and if I don't see your name, see John, TLT, OC, Dragon King. Did I miss anybody? Let's see, I'm going a little higher, TLT, me, Silver Stars. I hope I didn't miss you. Are you still here? 9 people, so that's quite a few people for my night stream. Let's see, still John, me, TLT, Ed, good night. I hope I entertained you tonight. Barbara Lee, I think you left earlier, but it's okay. I'd say good night too. Carlos Z, thank you. Goins said she left earlier because she had to get up in the morning. Well, folks, John, thank you for stopping by. Everyone else, thank you very much. I had a good night with Slacker and everybody else talking about a lot of different subjects, which is really great for me. So with that, adios, buenas noches, and have a good night, folks. If you're up, work the rest of the day, have a good day. Good night.